All right, we're live. Good morning, Joe. How you doing?
Good morning, Bobby. How are
Yeah.
you?
So for those that don't know, Joe is my brother-in-law, and he is also the guy who got me into the coffee business. So what we wanted to do today is give an introduction to him, how we met, pretty much our story, his story, and give everyone a clear perspective of, hey, what is Glamis Coffee? What are we doing, and how does this machine work?
Mhm.
So with that, I guess we could go on how we met, Joe.
We met because you married my wife's sister.
Yes, I did.
So
So,
that's how we
yeah,
met.
I met Joe through Rebecca, my wife, and um, it's been amazing. Like we've gotten along ever since we first met, and we share a lot of interests and hobbies. Like obviously, we have four runners, so
Love our forerunners.
that started off. And honestly, that's one of the things I've always talked to people about is you show up with a common bond, you can usually work from there. And it started off with four runners. And then Joe started making me coffee, and he realized he needed to educate me on this,
Just
and got me
sending
up to
you some
speed.
coffee. Wedding gift
Totally.
might have been coffee related.
Hey, the wedding gift, I love it. I use that thing all the time. Like, honestly, that French press, we have 2 of them, and that thing is in my kit. I take it everywhere. That is honestly one of the best coffee, I guess, accessories I have
Mhm.
for sure. But no, I remember drinking your coffee for years, and that's one of the things that came with this is when Joe started talking about coffee, I knew he had a great product, and he knew his business, his craft well. Yeah, so what's it been, like 4 years now?
Yeah, that we've known each other?
Mhm.
Yeah, I think 4 years.
Getting close to it. Well, I think me
Yeah,
and Rebecca's been together 4 years, so I think
yeah,
I met you a little bit after
you've
that.
been together. We probably met. You came to Pittsburgh
Right?
at one point, and we met. And you
That
drank
was all.
coffee at my house.
Totally. What do you got set up at your house? What is that? Just like a full
An
on.
espresso machine. It's a Luca A53 Mini, which is a espresso machine made by La Spaziale for Clive Coffee, I believe, here in the US. And so I have that. The grinder rotates, the grinder changes depending on what's currently working, what someone had that they were getting rid of. So I've rotated through coffee grinders from the Barazza Sette series to the Rancilio Rocky. I feel like I'm missing some grinders in there too that have like come and gone. Oh, we had a Mazur Super Jolly for almost a year, which is a actually a coffee shop commercial grinder that is overkill for your home. But we
Yeah,
just had I just had it, and then eventually someone needed one, and so it left this house. And yeah, so that's the daily, that's the everyday. There are other brew methods here. We can do an AeroPress, a French press,
yeah.
pour over, whatever you need. People will ask if I do pour overs, and the short answer is not really. But when I have a new coffee that I need to taste or kind of get a better feel for, then I will use a pour over just to try out different parts of it.
Okay.
But the Steady Eddie is a a long black in the morning, which is a Americano, is what people oftentimes think of it. It's just water and a shot of espresso. The fine minutia of the detail is if you add the coffee first and then the water, it's a Americano. If you add the water first and then the coffee, it's a long black. And
Gotcha.
it's kind of silly, but the long black does taste better.
Okay.
It does taste
Well,
better when you add the coffee to the water.
gotcha. I'm gonna have to try that because I've been. It's funny because I guess my coffee journey was pretty much. I didn't start drinking coffee till I was in my 30s, and that's
Mhm.
just a weird thing to tell people. But it's like I was on a trip. It's called Expeditionary Combat School, where you go somewhere and you basically just learning basic skills like army skills. And they told us we couldn't drink any energy drinks. And they're getting us up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and it's just death by PowerPoint the entire day.
Yep.
And
Yep.
they're like, "Yeah, well, you can't drink energy drinks." And I'm like, "Well, I guess I'm learning how to drink coffee."
Guess you're gonna get into coffee.
And that's how it all started for me. And then it's been this slow ride on up through. Then it was like, okay, Keurigs. So like it was
Mhm.
never a refined. method. Now here I am grinding coffee and have AeroPress, French press, and it's
Yeah, once
still
you start
not an
grinding your coffee.
yeah, it's a lot different, and I enjoy that. So it was a slow ride. So how did you
Yep.
start drinking?
One caveat that I will say to anybody listening to this video, the quickest way to like increase your coffee game is just to go from buying pre-ground coffee to whole bean coffee. That'll be the largest jump you have, I think, in your coffee tasting journey is whenever you stop buying pre-ground and you just buy whole bean coffee, buy a grinder. No matter what brew method you're talking about, that's easily the biggest jump that you'll gain in taste
Okay,
in your coffee lifetime. I started drinking coffee in college. I mean, like many people, when they drink
sure.
coffee in college, it's social, you're studying. And then right around that time, one of my close friends also loved coffee. So we would start visiting coffee shops together. That's a fun journey. And then honestly, I started getting into coffee beans that I couldn't afford because I was in college. And even whenever I was fresh out of college, I couldn't afford a 20 plus dollar bag of coffee, but that's the coffee that I wanted to be drinking. So then I started to roast those beans at my house rather than buying them roasted. And that's kind of how the wheels came off and you just go down a deep hole of coffee.
That's awesome. But you know what though? I mean, that's essentially how a lot of people start anything. I mean, you think about like moonshiners and all the other,
Yeah,
brewing your
right.
own beer.
Just
So
gonna
I
brew
mean,
my
a lot
own.
of it's kind of the same thing. It's like, hey, these are the things we like. How do we get it? It starts off usually cheaper, but then it's like, once you get to the point where you can get what you want, it's not a big deal. But yeah, you always find someone who's like in their backyard, they're making their own brew, their own moonshine. Like I'm from the South, so there's a lot of that.
Yeah, I stopped once I got into coffee full time. I stopped roasting at my house because it became work then. So we had a roaster at work. We had other things we were going to roast for. So just taking coffee off what I was already doing was much easier than continuing roasting at my house.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. So then what got you into the coffee business? When did that start?
Yeah, that was back in 2022. I got in. Why did I get into coffee? the the I was drinking coffee a lot, roasting in my house, and just a friend of mine reached out to me and said that he wanted me to step into his existing business and basically work on taking that business over the next few years and really to have the opportunity to work in coffee and kind of make that jump out was kind of hard to say no to. So
Yeah,
then just the right opportunity at the right time. It's not always something that I tell everybody you should get into coffee because it's the greatest thing. I'm like, well, it's a lot like any other business, but the product really does taste good. And
sure.
yeah, I have not lost the love of drinking coffee, even though it's what I do every day and it's the business that I work in.
Right. No, totally get it. It's kind of interesting when you get into, I mean, obviously you had entrepreneurial spirit getting into this
Yep.
and want to start your own business
Yep.
and or be in the business itself. And it's always interesting because we always try to fuse our hobbies, the things we enjoy, and then somehow work. And it's kind of interesting. Like for me, I was really hesitant to take on like Glamis coffee. I was trying to start like an off-roading themed brand
Hmm.
because I figured once you start, because like back in the day, people would talk to me like, "Hey, you do all these things. Why don't you make a YouTube channel and do all this stuff?" And I'm like, "I have nothing to sell. It's just attention." So it made no sense to me. So why would I? No one just wants to see me do this stuff. And then when this came about, it's like, oh, this makes sense because now we have a product to sell. We have something we're pushing. You can actually develop something around this. But then I was like, as soon as I fuse my hobbies with my job, I might hate my hobbies.
That is possible. I mean, many people have said that. Yeah, they asked if I still like coffee, and at the end of the day, it's like it is still good. I still enjoy it.
Yeah,
I still like. I think what ends up happening is you start cutting through some of the facade of the industry, and then you start appreciating the important things and putting less focus on things that don't matter quite as much. And so that is the nice part, is when you go so deep down the rabbit hole on a hobby or a subject, I think you do get to this point where you start appreciating it, and then you also don't take it quite as seriously, because you know that, look, if people just made a marginal change in this area, they would see huge rewards. And then after that point, they're pretty diminishing, where it's still like a hobby, but like, look, if you just drink high quality coffee and you grind it, you can stop there. It's okay. You don't have to keep going down the rabbit hole of coffee. I'm trying to think of like an off-roading comparison. Like
Oh,
if
no, there's plenty of comparisons.
like if you have a Forerunner
It's
and
funny, like, when you were talking about your espresso machine, and you're like, "Oh, yeah, well, you get this. This is a little bit overkill for what I do, this," and I'm like, "Oh, yeah. Well, I started off with this one basic four-wheeler. That's the one thing that got me interested was just a
right,
124 when I was a kid." And then you
right,
start graduating up, then all of a sudden you get a Raptor 700. You're like, "Oh, well, this is fun." And then you start learning how to really ride, and you're like, "You know what? A 450, they're wider, they're
it
just
just
they
kind of
handle
makes
better."
sense,
You get the same thrill out of it, and then now I'm getting into side by sides. I'm like, well, it's really just, an off-roading rig, but oh, you can get the
right?
turbo. You don't need the
Might as well have a
turbo, but
turbo.
you
You don't
might
need
need
it.
the
You can get
turbo.
it.
So I totally get it. All of a sudden, it's like even when guys that are into racing, they're like, oh yeah, but we got this rig built up for King of the Hammers, and now they're going through rocks and they're going fast. And the difference between going fast and rocks and slow is probably another $100,000 worth of parts, and you're
Right.
really not gaining much. Like
You're
even
not
drag
getting
race,
much.
you might get a quarter of just a sliver of a second, but it cost you another
Yeah.
100 grand to build it.
Yep. There's it's coffee's a lot like that. I'm like, you can see some people set up. What I will say, the coffee there is like, coffee's a lot cheaper. Like the most expensive coffee setup is still cheaper than a side by side.
Totally is. I believe that 100%. And yeah, you can totally like I'm very practical with stuff. And I'm like, you still grew these, right? These aren't magic beans. These are still beans, right?
You still grind them up and you still drink them, and then they're gone, and you have to buy more. And it's yeah, it's
And I guess kind of one of the things with this coffee business, it seems like, getting something fresh and fast seems to be extremely important. Obviously, the roasting process that you guys handle is key to that. But the other thing is, like I was looking at, is starting this business. And I guess we should go into how this even came about. Because I could kind of go into how we end up starting the business, creating the bags, getting the
mhm,
LLC set up, all this stuff. So
mhm.
that whole process, so let's talk about I was in Bahrain. So I was on my last deployment. And just for this, let me just say I am in the Navy, but I don't speak for the Navy. So don't take anything I say that I'm representing the Navy in any way. But while I was on deployment and I was in Bahrain, and Joe hit me up one night. And I know you were trying to come up with like a, I guess, an adventure theme, something
Yeah,
like
we
either
were
off
playing with a
roading.
brand. Yeah, we were playing with a brand that I was like, oh, we should, somehow weave the off-roading community into a brand, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
And Joe knows that I'm seriously into off-roading. This is the thing that I love. It is my passion. It has been for a long time. And it's funny, like if you looked around the little apartment I was in while I was out there, I had pictures of Glamis and all the other places I was at. And that's just what I look forward. That's what when you leave the country, you want to come back home. This is the things I'm looking forward to. And it's usually pictures of me and my wife out there doing these things. And we used to do a lot of camping and off-roading. And when Joe hit me up about it, I was just giving him some pointers, like this and that type of things about the community. And after that discussion, I pretty much just said, "Hey, why don't you just start your own brand?" And I'm like, "Okay," like me looking at getting out of the military because I'm retiring in August of 26. So I was looking at what is my next step, and I'd love to start my own business. I research a ton about business. I have, associates in it is too, which ain't much, but it's enough. So I was thinking this might actually work with all the information I know in a way that I could try to create a business that I could have fun with and be passionate about. I saw this was aligning. And then I was like, okay, what do we do from here? And essentially those steps were create an LLC, Then you need to come up with bags. Obviously, your brand, your logo, then create the bags. So we got a designer. He designed the bags with me, and it was a fun experience. Honestly, I have more fun designing stuff and getting shirts made. That's just, it excites me. Trying to think of where to go from here with that. But it was an interesting process. But with the brand, I guess with why we picked Glamis, I was looking at I mean, we were throwing around a lot of different ideas when we were first having our initial chat of
Mhm.
different ways that you could tie people into, like, trailhead and different things that make sense that everyone, relates to. And I guess with Glamis Coffee, I always looked at it from Glamis is like the mecca. That's like the just the top tier part. People know Glamis is. If you don't know Glamis, you've heard of Glamis. Everyone in SoCal knows about Glamis.
Mhm.
And funny thing is Glamis really isn't a place like that anymore. Glamis used to be just like a train stop out in the desert that they had. And they have the Glamis Beach store is the only actual physical thing out there. So it's actually the Imperial Sand Dunes. So when you look at this, it's Glamis was just this thing you heard about, and it just, I don't know, it holds that, I guess, just something in people's mind that, hey, this is the place to go to.
Mhm.
And I remember my brother telling me about Glamis when we used to ride in the Oregon sand dunes. And I loved it. And then he was like, "Hey, if you love this, go get stationed in San Diego. You can go right out on Glamis." And he was telling me about this place and never even been here. So I was like, "This is something that it has the name. It's
Mhm.
already established." And then I didn't want to look like a poser or a tool bag by taking this name and someone making a brand around it. But I think I've broken enough bones out there that I've earned enough to.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like you've been out there, there's an affection for the place, um yeah, I think the desire's good, and that's where, like, you can there's a lot of coffee brands out there right now, and so it is just whenever we were talking about it, it was like, well, then you have to do it around something that you're passionate about and around the people that you love and around a mission that you can really just get behind, because whenever the business gets a little tough and whenever, starting off can be hard, continuing can be hard, growing can be hard, all of that, at least at the end of the day, you're doing it for a great cause, the right people. And so
sure,
that's where, like, Glamis was like, this is, you're passionate about this. And from my end of it, I was like, we work with coffee farmers in a few different countries. And for me, I'm like, look, we have there's lots of great coffee out there, and we can deliver that to a lot of people that are not drinking great coffee. And on top of that, we can also raise funds for a mission that we care about. And so because of that, that's where it just becomes this, like, easy on road
no,
of,
totally, yeah.
yeah,
I remember, I mean, because that was one of the initial things we talked about. I was like, "Well, how would I get?" Because when you look at coffee, there's no shortage of coffee around.
no shortage
Um,
of coffee right now.
so it's like,
No.
okay, why would people wanna get into supporting Glamis Coffee? And it's a place I love, and what we're gonna do is take pretty much a dollar of every bag, that we sell and give it to an organization that helps Glamis or somehow gives benefit to, the community within it. And this year, we're teaming up with, Glamis veterans. Not really like teaming up, we're, pledging to give, a dollar of every bag we sell, um, to them because their event that they put on each year is amazing. I've gone to it for the last 10 years. Well, not every year 'cause, usually not here for some of them, but, due to deployment, what they do is it started off as really just a couple guys basically changing out a flag at this little spot in the middle of the sand dunes. It was a memorial, and they said a couple words, just something nice, then it just kept growing, and then people started showing up. Now, about 10,000 people show up to this event. But it's something we really got behind, and I'm like, "Yeah, I see the benefit of this. I think it's a great cause." So they were nice enough. I met Brian and the other people over at Glamis Veterans, and they said, "Hey, come on out for the flagpole ceremony." Well, not for the flagpole ceremony, but the day before they do a run, and they also give out their shirts for the event. And they told us we could set up our booth and give people samples of coffee, and we'll sell some of our swag and send the coffee out there. So they're helping us out a lot with it. But that is one of the main contributing things. Is like, hey, how do we take this thing and get people behind it to where they would actually want to be a part of this? And so anyway, that's the event we're doing. I'm probably rambling on about it, but that's what we're doing, and that's what are going to continue to do. And if as this brand grows, I want to start incorporating other places within it. But the initial goal is let's just take care of Glamis and the people within it, and then find a way for other people to get a hold of it too.
Yeah. And and that's the mission that we're really doing this for, because at the end of the day, I can say all the great things about the coffee and the coffee farmers that we're working with and all this stuff. And I'm actually not convinced. I think people like to hear that it's happening, but it's not the reason why they're going to be committed to a brand. I think they're going to be committed to a brand that aligns with what they love and the whatever that brand is. And
Most of the people I hang with, we just drink coffee. They're not connoisseurs of this stuff. So it's interesting when you try to tell somebody the difference and the value in the coffee itself. And one of the things that we talked about
yeah,
was the Q score that we put on the about page.
yeah,
So can you explain that a little
that's
bit?
tough. Yeah, the Q score is not well known. I really want to do a better job with all the brands in the whole country. I think there's a couple metrics that I would love to share more with people so that the consumer can just understand a bit more about what they're drinking and why is it this price and why is it this way. Almost similar to like a roast temperature, which we haven't really done yet, but I would love to start communicating what the coffee is actually roasted to, so that rather than just saying, light, medium, dark, you can actually get a real sense on the temperature that this bean was taken to. And then that compares much better than saying like this brand has a dark roast and this brand has this other roast. They might be 20 degrees different in roast, but they both say dark. So that's very
Right.
confusing. Which we can talk through that if you want. The other piece is the Q score, which is the grade that the green coffee gets out of the farm. So you could Q score it at origin. You can Q score it up in the States. Doesn't matter. It's the score that the green coffee gets. The things
Okay.
that they look at for a Q score, how many defects are on each bean or in a select amount of beans. They look at the hardness of the bean. They look at the size of the bean. There's a lot of little metrics that are based into that. And so then they're put on a scale, and the numbers that you should worry about and I should worry about is anything from like 80 up until 90. And so technically the score goes up to 100. You're not going to drink a 90 plus Q score coffee for less than 30-40 bucks a bag.
It's a special
So
bean.
it's a special bean. So
Yeah. God forbid you throw creamer in that, huh?
you really shouldn't put creamer in that, or it's a little much, and no one actually sells that and no one really buys it. So then you have your Dunkin', your Starbucks, your McDonald's, and they're gonna be maybe sub 80, maybe up into 80, maybe 81, but doubtful. They're probably sitting up at like 77, 78, and so that would not be considered specialty coffee. So specialty coffee is really that like 80 plus range. Some would argue it's 82 plus. And
Gotcha.
so whenever we're looking at buying green coffee from a farm, we're looking at the Q score because that dictates how much that coffee costs.
Gotcha.
So also depending on the origin, different governments take different amounts for the export. So that also
Gotcha.
comes into play, Nicaraguan versus Colombian coffee, etc.
So which one's
So
harder to get from that?
which
Does that
country?
make it harder to get those beans?
It can. It
Yeah.
can. It depends a lot on the individual farms. The coffee supply chain is extremely chaotic in the sense of where you're getting those beans from. There are really only one country that has it controlled by the government, and that is Brazil. So Brazil, the government runs a lot of it. So it's very well done. There's farms everywhere. You can't really work with like a specific farm on a project. You can buy from a region, you can buy from a processing area, but it's not going to be as specific as you might be able to get in a small roaster, a small grower in Nicaragua.
Okay.
So, depending on the country, and on top of that, you have a bunch of different countries, and then within each country, you have different areas within that country, and then within that area, you have different farms. And so, to add more to this, you also have hundreds, if not thousands, of different types of coffee plants.
So it's tough and things fluctuate constantly.
So, you
I
get
get you.
this even theoretically, even if you get a buy the same coffee from the same farm, there might be a slight change in Q score or taste from year to year. And so that also plays into this, where you're assuming you're going to get a certain product, you might even prepay for it, and then we'll see how the harvest goes.
Yeah, so it kinda seems like how wine is.
It's a lot like
You know,
wine. If you know
yeah,
wine, coffee is just like wine.
okay,
Yeah,
cool, and, one of the things with this, like, because I know people are probably like, "Man, that's not cheap coffee," and no, it's not cheap coffee,
it's not cheap
and
coffee.
it's kinda the way we're looking at this is like, I'm sure probably the sticker probably scares a little bit, and we're still giving giving money away from it. I would not start a business around something I didn't feel was a great product. So from the beginning, I don't care if everyone's throwing French vanilla creamer in this stuff. The thing is, at least you're starting off with a good product.
It'll still
Now, for
taste
the
better.
people that are legit coffee drinkers can enjoy this and love it, to the people that are not, hardcore coffee drinkers can still doctor it up or dress it up any way you want and still enjoy a good cup. And whatever path you are on that coffee journey, you're still gonna be taken care of. So,
If
that's one
you're
thing.
if you're putting cream in your coffee, that's not a big deal. Really, like what you're gonna drink still tastes better. And then on top of that, it is sourced better. So there is this gray zone of coffee sourcing that can get a little interesting if you don't know who's actually in the supply chain. And so being able to know where your coffee is coming from, knowing the person, like knowing me and putting a face to the person actually bringing in the coffee, that's very critical, I feel, because a lot of people throw around the ethical fair trade tags a lot,
Sure,
and they're mostly bogus. So
sure. It just
um
sounds good and they just
it
dress up
just
and throw it in
sounds
there.
good. So, I would feel yeah, I feel confident that if you're enjoying Glamis coffee, even if you're dumping French vanilla creamer in it, doesn't matter to me, and it's still gonna taste better, and the mission is still there, and it is still ethically sourced, direct from the farm. There's really no one else in the middle. It's not again, the way that I've been working in coffee is cutting out as many people in the chain as possible.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it is not the same as any other brand.
With it, so I was gonna go over a little bit with the bag. I've had a handful of people reach out about bags, and it's interesting because we got into this, and with the way we package it, you have ground or you have whole bean. We prefer whole bean. And a whole bean is actually really easy to get out of this bag. I had one guy, he had a little bit of an issue opening the bag. I guess he didn't realize that there was the seal on the
The
side and
zipper,
open it from the top, which
that does
no big
happen.
deal.
No big deal.
The side zipper here, or I guess seal, is great if you have whole bean. I guess it's a little more challenging for people that have it ground because they're trying to get their scoop in, and it's a little more difficult from what I've understood. Um, and someone mentioned to me, the other day, I hooked them up with a bag and they're like, "Hey, the ground's a little tough to get out." And I'm like, "Yeah, we mostly do whole bean out of that, but I get it, but you just gotta work around that one if you wanna keep it sealed up."
Yeah. I mean, there's a good reason for these things, and that's where like there's people that have, I would say, maybe bigger zipper sizes, but
Mhm.
I've seen a lot of brands even with a smaller size, which is
Yeah.
crazy. But yeah, at the end of the day, I've heard this critique on the zipper before, not on these bags, but any coffee bag that has them now. And at the end of the day, I always still lean towards having a zipper seal because I know that it's airtight and I know that like air is not getting in there whenever it's just sitting on the counter. But then, you can do like a roll top bag, which is like, you roll it down.
Like those.
I
I
don't
mean,
like
it feels like
those.
it's just yeah,
I've never liked them. I've never done anything with them. The zipper is just like you seal it, it's closed, it's airtight.
yeah.
Yeah.
because I had someone also ask about the little valve. Where's
Yeah,
the camera? Where's the camera? A little
there it
valve on
is.
the backside. So it's a one-way valve. It's for
It's a one-way
degassing.
valve. Yeah.
Um, and with these bags, it's funny because people talk about 'em like there's a lot of thought that actually goes into these bags, not just
Yeah, there's a
designing
lot
it.
there. There's a lot there.
Like even the one we put out, it costs a little bit more, but it's 100% recyclable. So one thing that I didn't want to happen is I see a lot of trash in the dunes, and it annoys me. Anytime I go camping and I see trash somewhere, it pisses me off. I can't stand it. I'm the guy out there cleaning up the whole campsite. If I see trash, it just ruins my day. I'm trying to get all this crap out of there. So one thing I didn't want to happen was drive drive down Wash Road one day and see Glamis bags all over the place. So at least if you do see anything out there, at least it's recyclable.
This is
We're trying to do
recyclable.
something there.
Yeah, there's a couple manufacturers that will make a they make a biodegradable bag, which kind of gives me the willies to think that like the bag
It's
could be
deteriorating.
biodegrading or like
Yeah, I don't want my
deteriorating.
bag to just eat it. I don't want to eat the bag.
Yeah, there's like it's a little concerning to me that there's
You
biodegradable
just
coffee
it's one of
bags
those
out
things when
there.
you're like, "Man, if this ever gets wet, is it just gonna dissolve on me?"
Yeah, I'm like, what
And
happens? It's
yeah,
supposed to protect the beans from any moisture. And so I don't want it to also take on moisture.
yeah, I'm not trying to make compost heaps with old bags of coffee, but, to each their own, whatever works for them. At
Yeah, I
least try
mean,
to get
yeah,
recyclable, and I did get a comment on one of the
it's all
forums.
marketing.
Maybe you could explain this too, because I had to Google it, to see what was going on. But, one person said that, the bags cause static electricity, and from what the research I've done, another person said it's the grinding that actually causes static electricity.
Yeah, it's the grinding.
Can you shed any light on that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious what context people are concerned about static.
I think what it is you get the dust when you grind it and you get, like, the
Yeah.
little flakes everywhere.
Yeah, yeah,
I just
yeah.
figured that's just part of
Yeah,
the
so that
process.
that is what happens. So the if someone's opening a bag and it's kind of staticky, it's because it was ground into that bag, which is just a natural when you have coffee going into two burrs spinning very quickly, static is definitely created.
Right.
If you look at the fancy coffee brewing, if you want to get into the weeds on coffee brewing, people will actually spray the coffee beans before they grind.
I
And
heard about that
there
too.
yeah, there is some benefit to the brewing process. It's pretty minimal, but honestly, it just keeps the grinding much cleaner. So
Okay.
I do spritz coffee
You're
beans
a
every
spritzer,
morning.
huh?
I do have a little spritzer before I put them into the grinder because it doesn't get just staticky and chaffy everywhere.
Okay, so what do you spritz it with? Let me ask you that.
Do you want me to do you want me to get it? It's like
Sure.
I can show
What you
you.
what
Hold
are you
on one second.
spritzing this with?
Oofta and podcasting. Let's see if this okay. So this is what I spray. It's a little spray bottle. They
Okay.
actually sell these things on Amazon now. Can you see that?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. What is
It's just water.
it's just water? Okay,
It's just
I didn't
water.
know if you
This
had
is
something
no. This
extra
is
special
just
going into that thing.
this is just water. This is little spritzer of water, but it kills the static. So even if I'm hand grinding, you can do it. Yeah, I'm not the expert on this method. There's a term for it. I think it's RDT. You can look it up.
Well, you don't have to be the voice for the thing, but, like, how many squirts do you put on there? Just give, like, one little
I'll give it like four squirts,
do you just
four
I mean, the
spritzes.
handheld grinder, I'm assuming, right?
I do have a handheld, but daily espresso is a normal person grinder, like a
Do you just
normal
put it in
drop
the
through.
big top, just spritz it a few times?
I
Now, do you
will.
have
I have
any
a little
issues?
cup. I have a little
Okay.
cup, and then I spray the cup, and then
Oh,
I
okay.
dump it in. Yeah,
Do you ever have any issues with, the bean sticking to the
a little bit, but that's where you can, depending on the hopper and the grinder,
Okay,
it doesn't stick that much. Like it's not gonna stop going in. That being said, it depends a lot on what grinder you have.
gotcha.
If you're having specific issues with beans getting stuck because you're spraying them with water, yeah, I mean you can maybe stop
Should I
or
back off
just
a little bit of it?
get
Okay.
get a different grinder.
Okay.
But yeah, it does kill the like static. So if I had to grind through honestly any coffee for the most part in a for brewing specifically, then I would probably spray it with water just to keep the static down. And because you're
Okay.
already introducing water to the bean and 10 seconds later with the brew process,
Right.
it's not like it's a big issue.
Okay.
I wouldn't do that if I was bagging your coffee and
Yeah.
sealing it and shipping it to you. I would not spray water into that because we're going to have like water sitting in
Yeah,
your
we
coffee
we don't
bag.
want that. I want a mud pie coming out of this
So
thing.
yeah, when you open your bag and it's a little
Yeah.
staticky, that also means that it's dry and a good thing.
Okay. Well, fair enough. All right. I was just wondering because, yeah, the people were asking about it. Let's see what else we
Yeah, no,
got.
static is real. Static is real within grinding, and spraying your beans before grinding is approved.
Well, let me ask you, is there a wrong way to make coffee?
I am a coffee person for the people, so I have to say no.
Okay. So it's
Would I drink
interesting.
coffee anyway? Probably not. This is the
Yeah.
okay, so like interesting point.
How will you not drink coffee? Put it that way.
At the end of the day, I'm still a caffeine addict, right? So like
Sure.
at the end of the day, I still need caffeine. So even if I'm worst case scenario, I'm stopping at a gas station and getting a cup of coffee. Like that does happen.
Hey, I'm addicted to 5-hour energy shots. You don't have to
Yeah.
explain it to me.
I'm
I'm getting
like,
something in
it's
there one
at
way or
the end of the
another.
day, I'm an addict, so it's okay. If you wanted to like rank brew methods or get them a little more hashed through, one of my least favorite brew methods is the French press. And I say that because I don't like a super oily or like a dirty cup of coffee. And
Yeah.
so oftentimes French press, whenever brewed incorrectly and even whenever brewed correctly, you theoretically could have this like sooty oiliness to the coffee. And I just prefer a cleaner cup. So
You don't like the sludge at the bottom of your cup?
not a huge fan of the sludge at the
I
bottom
just
of the
don't
cup.
take the last sip. That's all I
Yeah,
do. If I don't
it's
want it, I just don't drink the
it'll be better. It'll be better than, something else out there. But if
Yeah.
I go somewhere and that's the only option, I'll drink it, but it's okay.
Okay.
Because then if you're doing a dark roast in that type of brew method as well, you're increasing the likelihood of extract over extracting the coffee, and so you're kind of risking some things there.
Okay. So let me ask you about that because there's one thing that was interesting. So I went camping and a friend of mine did cowboy coffee, and that was seemed complete. This to me, it seemed completely different than what everyone tries to do with coffee, because you
Tell me how
essentially
he did it,
boil.
because
So
sometimes people have different definitions of this. So
So
how
he
did he
had a
do it?
kettle, and then he just got it go to a rolling boil. He threw the coffee in it and let it, roll and boil for about 4 minutes. Then he took cold water and just shocked the top of it, and that made the coffee grounds settle to the bottom, and then poured it from there. And that's how he made it. It just seemed interesting because most people, like in French press method, you get the coffee to a boil, then you let it cool down a little bit, then you let it sit in it for 4 minutes, and then you press it through them. It just seemed interesting that you were then a rolling boil for 4 minutes. It just seemed different to me.
Yeah, it's not how I would make coffee, but if I in a pinch, it sounds great. Like in a pinch where you would need cowboy coffee,
Yeah.
you're camping, it sounds
Minimal
great.
minimal equipment, it
Right, you
works,
don't
yeah.
need equipment, sounds great.
Yeah.
Um, as a coffee lover, I would totally do that on a camping trip. On the flip side of that, you're not going to get like the best cup of coffee from that method, and that's the coffee nerd. So I would say two sides of my personality with coffee. There's like the deep coffee nerd side, and then there's the at the end of the day I just need coffee.
Sure.
And so the nerd side sees boiling water and coffee going in, and I'm like, there's no way you're going to control any like good flavor profile from that method. Throwing something in there and drinking it, I'm like, it'll taste like coffee. Will it be like
Yeah.
extracted properly and have all the tasting notes that it's supposed to have? It's like, no, but that's not the point whenever you're drinking cowboy coffee. Um, so that's like my take on it. How did it taste good? Like, did you enjoy the
I
coffee?
thought it was okay. I didn't think,
You
it was
put creamer
okay.
in it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Because if you took cowboy coffee and then put some creamer in it. And again, would taste great because you've just neutralized a lot of the bitterness.
Yeah. So, I
Other
mean,
trick you could do. Other trick is if you did cowboy coffee or you over extracted your coffee, you could put a little bit of salt in it, and then it would also even out
really?
that taste. Yeah. So
Okay.
if next time you have cowboy coffee from this friend, before you put cream in it, put like a little bit of salt on top and see what it tastes like.
Okay. All right. Didn't Yeah, I didn't know that. Cool. All right. Well, there's that. Let's see.
Would you? Oh,
I think what
that
else do we
actually was
got
a
in
question.
here?
Was there a wrong way to make one? You could
What's
do
what?
like we could talk about organic coffee if you want,
Yeah, yeah. Hey, I
because
remember.
that
Yeah,
actually,
you're ragging on organic coffee and your spicy sips. Let's what you got?
yeah. So
We'll put it
I
like that. You're
recently
ragging on it.
I recently was ragging on organic coffee, and which I still believe is very valid. And there's this issue that I have with coffee brands whenever they start marketing so hard on this, like we're the clean coffee, we're clean, we're organic, we've been
Yeah,
tested for all these different things, and then they also like dump minerals into the like it's all just like a lot of marketing jargon. And then you go into a grocery store and you see a bag of organic coffee and it's kind of the same price as the other cheap coffee, and then you're like, okay, so it's not like a premium feature that you have to have, like it's not it doesn't have to be expensive, but this person on the internet's charging me $30 for a bag of coffee because it's clean. But then I go in the grocery store and it's $10, and then continue that, then you get into the actual supply chain of coffee, and you start tasting all these coffee beans. And then you realize that organic has nothing to do with the quality of that bean. So you can have an organic coffee that tastes horrible.
yeah.
Okay.
Just
It
dirt.
doesn't
Yeah,
matter. And then you could have an organic coffee that does taste great. So it has nothing to do with the quality of the coffee like the Q score would. On top of this, you have the organic coffee USDA certification. There's multiple levels of this that you have to pay for. So in every level of that chain, you have to have it checked by this group of people, and it has to be checked off, and someone has to pay that bill. Okay. And so there's this term in coffee that isn't popular yet, but I hope it becomes more popular. It's called organic by default. And organic by default means that the farmers couldn't afford a pesticide if they wanted to. So they have to use an organic method. Okay. If they can't afford a pesticide that would make their crops way more profitable because they would have more of them, they certainly can't afford the organic tag that it would
certainly.
cost. So there's this dichotomy within coffee that organic's not bad, but it's also not a good metric. And so I just generally wanted people to understand what is organic coffee. Oh, there's another piece of that too. So people freak out about pesticides, obviously. And when you're talking about coffee, it's not like a strawberry or a blueberry or an
Bugs aren't
apple
there to
or
eat.
meat. There's you are taking a coffee cherry, okay? It's getting picked off of a tree. It's being put into a facility that is stripping the fruit off in some way, different ways to do that. And then you get this coffee bean at the end, which again probably has very little pesticides even left from a lab perspective. And then you bag it up and you throw it on a ship and it gets to the States. Then that bean goes into a coffee roaster and it goes up to 465 degrees, and
Yeah,
any pesticide
it's dead.
that might even be left on it has been burned away and is dead and gone. Okay. So you're getting to this point where even the like dirtiest coffee out there, which we don't sell and you shouldn't sell, even the dirtiest coffees out there probably aren't that bad. And
Right.
so then you get to this flip side of like we're overpaying for this organic tag that doesn't really mean anything. Like for our coffees, I was like, yeah, I don't even bother with the farmers talking about this because they can't afford the pesticides to begin with, and it's just not a big issue. And
Yeah.
so like that's a piece That's a whole nother piece.
Okay. No, no,
Yeah.
I get it
So
though. Yeah, it just seems like it's almost just
organic
a money
coffee,
grab or just a
just
scam.
money grabbing. Like
Yeah, it's just
organic
money grab.
coffee, kind of you should buy organic fruits and vegetables. Like, yes, you should do that. Organic coffee means nothing to me. So where I told people, I was like, if you have a brand that you liked already that put out a delicious coffee that you loved and it's also organic, I was like, great, buy that coffee. Don't overpay for it because it's organic. But you can of course drink that coffee and it'll taste good, but that's not a metric that I would make a decision on.
Yeah, totally.
That's all.
Totally get it. All right. Thank you.
We're also doing mold free next week, which will be fun.
What's up with the mold free?
So there's all these same like tagline. All these like big brands are like, we're a mold free coffee. I'm like, neat. I was like, I think everybody else is too.
Yeah,
And then like, no, we did this test that 60% of coffees have mold in it. And I was like, well, we like tested the worst coffees from the worst origins possible.
yeah.
And the
From
person
some
that funded it just
humid.
happens to run this like huge like coffee scam business. And yeah, I'm like, yes, I'm sure some coffees have mold in them. Like, I'm sure that's a thing, but it's not. It's again like not this huge fire issue that you have to go spend a ton of money for. Like they're charging you $30+ for a bag of coffee because it's been lab tested, and I'm like,
I think
it's all but. And then there
do.
are tests that then come out that prove all of this wrong. That they're like, well, we tested 30 bags of coffee from the cheapest brands we could find, and there's no mold. Like, yeah, it's just kind of this like I'm very against scare tactics within the coffee business. Just general marketing. I think there's time for maybe some fear based marketing if the fear is real, but in coffee, there's really no place to be putting the fear into these consumers that your coffee's not organic and lab tested every 10 minutes and you spend 18 bucks on a bag of coffee instead of 30, therefore it's going to give you cancer.
Well, I know we're not gonna then put anything about organic or mold free.
We can do organic. We can say mold free. I mean, it's just like it doesn't. It's such a silly subject.
It's not gonna scare me none. I believe in the 5-second rule, so I'm not gonna spend any
It's
time buying it.
it's just silly. Like it's just marketing. I was like if you want the whole supply chain to start testing for something that's almost never there, and you want your coffee bags to cost twice as much, that sounds silly to me. That sounds silly.
Totally. Totally get it, man. It's, speaking of, some of the back I think we're changing up a few things here.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a hold of Bo and, try to get some of that little part dropped a little bit with the giving back and have it just a little lower.
Yeah,
So I notice it gets caught
gets
in
caught in
the
the sealer.
so the next thing is so this was, I'll bring it up. On your way home part was basically the last line of the mission statement, which is fun, and the main reason I had that on there was just like, "Hey, this is home for a lot of people." And I get that, and that's it's like it's home for me, and everyone has their own version of home, which is usually be out in the outdoors. But the thing is, I made, a tent to go take out to the dunes, and I'm looking at this thing, designing it, and I'm like, "Okay." We were talking to people again, and they took the tagline and they threw it on the side, and one of the other taglines that we had from the beginning, and I'll really balance between the 2 is one was "Brewed where the pavement ends." And I liked it a lot. And then I saw "Find Your Way Home" on the side of that tent, and it really just says "Go away" to me. And I'm like, well, that's not a really, for people who have no idea what the hell Glamis coffee is. If you just see the thing that says "Find Your Way Home," it says either they're lost or they they don't know how to.
They
So
don't know
I'm
where
like,
they're going.
makes no sense. So, we changed it to that. So I think for now on, so anyway, if you get the OG bags, you're getting this.
The
But I
OG.
think I'll end up changing this to, um, "Brewed where the pavement ends." And
Yeah, and there's even this like part of it that like when even if you're you have work that day and you're gonna sit in the office, it at least kind of gives you that like something to look forward to. Like you see like the bags are also super fun. So I'm like waking up and seeing a picture of like an old
yeah,
pictures
the old
of
sand
the
rails that,
store.
like
Like,
Yeah.
like that, and, like, the, like, crazy dog image sitting on your counter in the morning, I'm like, those are fun, like, these are fun things, like, these are
Yeah.
like, the coffee bag is a piece of your kitchen. Like, it very I don't know about anybody else, but, like, I don't put the coffee bag away, it just sits next to the coffee machine, right? So
Exactly.
I'm like, so it just kind of, I'm like, y you did put the effort in, that's like, well, this should look nice just sitting on your counter,
I
and
mean, yeah, that was the original idea was, "Hey, well, let's make some coffee that, this excites you. This is something that you just a reminder
I
that, hey,
look
this is
forward
what I
to
wanna do today."
off-roading. Yeah, I
Yeah,
look
like, I don't
forward
know
to
of too
to
many
off-roading.
products that I look at, even, like, brands that I wear, that ever gets me excited for the thing I wanna go do. It's really just
Yep,
their name, and that's really
right.
about it. Even in the Glamis logo, I wanted it to be a dune with a sunrise coming up because, out in the desert, really, honestly, sunrise and sunset's the most beautiful time of the day, and that's really just that iconic thing that you look at. So I want everyone to look at this, be like, "Hey, that reminds me of this." So when they look at this bag, they're like, "Oh, that's cool. That's fun." As we start making more of these, then we can try to put other themes. But I genuinely just love doing that, and that was so much fun to me. And yeah, I want everyone else to get that too. So we can create something that says, "Hey, this is what it is," and even like funny thing is like the hair of the dog,
Yep,
like with the hangover one.
yep.
So a friend of mine, he loved that dog. He just went nuts about this. He's like, that dog is gonna be the best thing ever. Like, I didn't even know he liked dogs. Like
Put
he
on a
just loves the
t-shirt.
dog.
It needs to be a t-shirt pretty
Yeah,
soon.
he was like, "I
It
love the
needs to
dog.
be a
That is the coolest thing ever." And then his wife gets online and orders a bag of coffee. Um, and she got the Desert Sunrise one. And it just I had me rolling that she ordered the bag that he didn't even know about or wasn't raving about. And then I talked to her and she was like, "Yeah, well, it said hangover blend or hangover roast, so I thought it was gonna be more potent, this and that." I'm like, "No, no, 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 no. It's just a
No,
Columbia medium roast. There's
it's
no
a good
extra
medium roast.
caffeine. We didn't spike it with anything."
No, it's not spiked.
So it was funny. So one of those things where you're looking at like, "Oh, maybe this came off a little harsh."
Maybe
So I
we
was
name
like,
this a little maybe we name it like, keep the dog, but name it
"Yeah."
different. I mean,
Well, the
yeah,
funny
that's
thing is the original idea, so I was listening to a so when I come up with some of these things, I was sitting just playing around. I'm a big music junkie, and I'm listening to Jay the Cat, and it's this kind of like, it's a definitely California, kinda like, I guess it got a little punk influence, kind of ska or not ska, but yeah, just kinda that beach
yep,
vibe.
yep.
Anyway, they got this song called "Hello Hangover," and it's really just about being hungover in the airport going through and it's an awesome song and I love it, but it made a hangover seem fun, and so the original idea was "Hello Hangover," not just hangover, but Bo just put hangover, and I'm like, "Makes
Alright.
sense," but in a sense, I'm like, "Maybe I should have just put hello hangover." Maybe it'll make sound a little less threatening than hangover.
Yeah, I mean, that's an easy change,
Yeah,
that no one will care about.
but
I mean, it's funny.
yeah, that's kind of the fun part of this, like, desert sunrise, cool. For everyone who just loves the sunrise, wants the iconic desert theme, this is just beautiful. Here you
Yep,
go. It's a nice
yep.
mellow roast.
It is
Like,
mellow.
honestly, the Nicaraguan is just mellow. And then honestly, like, I picked the hangover one for the, Columbia medium rare, 'cause that's honestly my favorite one. I'm like,
It's
I really like it." And then the
it
dark
is.
roast, it seemed to
Yeah.
go great with because I looked at the Spirit 79, I'm like, "Alright, you're gonna get your OGs, the older crowd, they probably like the dark
Like
roast,"
that
so I'm
dark
like, "This
roast,
makes
yep,
sense." So,
yep.
anyway,
Yeah, no, the medium Colombian is of those 3 coffees, the medium Colombian is definitely my favorite. That's the one that I drink every morning.
yeah.
The Nicaraguan comes in, the dark Colombian comes in. We're playing with some other coffees right now too, but
I guess we can explain the process of right now of how this business works. I created the website and then had a couple other people, interact into this to make sure because obviously, designing websites is not my forte. Like right now, we're getting the subscription part all worked out so people can actually subscribe, and hopefully by Veterans Day, we have this well, we will, by Veterans Day, have it fully laid out, and then as I get more content, we're actually gonna swap over to a different theme, for the website itself. So that's an ongoing process. But from that process, you go to the website, you pick out the bag of coffee you want, you order it.
Yeah, so whenever your order comes in, then I see it, and depending on what the coffee is, we are roasting multiple times in a week right now. So we just grab whatever the freshest roast is from the coffee that you ordered, and we bag it up and we get it out to you. Usually within 48 hours, the coffee is shipped out of our space. Yeah,
Now, how is
good
that
question.
different from most coffee that you see on the shelf?
That's a good question. Yeah. So, like, how we're different is your coffee is being roasted within, 24, 48 hours before it's getting into the bag and then going into the mail. You're looking at like a few days and then, sitting in the post office going to you, you're getting a bag of coffee that was probably roasted between 7 and 10 days ago. And so, to put that into perspective, that's also the prime time to drink the coffee. So, the best time to drink a bag of coffee is 7 to 14 days after it's been roasted, because it does take days for the coffee basically to settle down from being shot with a lot of hot air and fire. And so when the bean kind of settles down, the taste does actually change. If you drink a coffee directly off roast, you get a lot of like fire taste still, which is crazy, but you really don't want to drink it the day after you roast it. Even 2 days after, it's still a little much. And so we basically have it set up so you're getting it in your hands within that peak window. That's different than most brands you're going to order from. If you're ordering off Amazon, you'll be lucky if the coffee was roasted within the past 6 months. Yeah, I would be impressed if you ordered a bag of coffee off Amazon and that coffee wasn't like a year old. And so just the taste will be radically different. If you're locally buying coffee from a coffee roaster in your town, then this will be similar to that. But if you're going to like a grocery store, buying a bag there, again, you're lucky if that coffee is a month off roast, maybe like 4 to 5 months off roast. And so that just changes the taste um, a lot. So you get like this window of 7 to 14 days, I would say is peak. And then that 14 day, like that first couple months, it's still really good. Still like excellent coffee. And then when you get like past that 6 month, it'll be better than a lot of the stuff out there, but
Okay.
it's not going to be like it's not going to be prime.
Awesome. So, I mean, that definitely differentiates like, hey, this is really what you're getting. You're getting a
It
premium
is fresh
product,
shipped. Yeah.
and on top of it, you're getting it fresh right to you. So, and then the shelf life on it still holds up well.
Shelf life
So,
is interesting. Coffee never actually goes bad. So even if you dig out a bag in 3 years from now and it's still sealed,
yeah.
you can still drink it. It will not be as good as the first 14 days, but it won't hurt you.
It's funny. I remember back in the day, at one of my old commands, somebody donated a ton of coffee. So this is what like Starbucks and these people do. As soon as their coffee gets expired, they just donate it to the military.
They'll drink it.
They
Send it
know
over
we'll
to
drink it. So they gave us a bunch of these, it's the K cups, but the carafe ones. So the big 2.0, and I had a 2.0 Keurig, and I took nobody would drink them. No one had a Keurig that would work for it.
yeah.
So I took home about $1,000 worth of K cups. I was every morning, I would take one of those big carafe ones and I would just make it for a 16-ounce cup. And I would take it
Why
to work
not?
with me, and that had me
Why not?
wired all day long. So yeah, even if it's expired, you know,
It still works. It's
less
still like
water,
it
more
it's still
coffee,
good.
and it does the
Yeah.
job. You may not
It's
enjoy it
still
much.
it still works.
Yeah,
It
a lot of
still
French
works.
vanilla went into that, but
Yeah. I'm not gonna say it might not taste as great as it could, but that's also where you have to kind of tamp down the like coffee nerd side a little bit, because it's like, okay, look, even this coffee at 6 months would taste better than whatever is being sold in a store near you. That's
exactly.
kind of also put it into perspective. It's like if you're buying a super dark roasted Starbucks coffee that's sitting in a grocery store shelf, even if our coffee sat for 6 months, it would still taste better.
Awesome.
So, um, like that's also you can try to get it within that peak freshness window. but at the end of the day, it's still gonna be better than what you're currently drinking, most likely.
Okay. Well, awesome. At least everyone knows that, and
Everyone knows that. That's a good that yeah, the freshness is a big one.
totally.
Is there have you gotten any other questions from, like, the forums or anything else
You know what? I
that
think
you got asked
so.
and you were stumped?
People kinda I think one of the things that people were kinda weary about is they saw a new person jump out there in a community that they care a lot about, which I totally understand, and then say, "Hey, you got it. Here's the coffee I'm trying to sell you." Most people
Right.
will just reject that. It's like, "Beat it, nerd." I really when most people are thinking Glamis, they're making sure their ride works and they bring enough beer during that time. So, good thing is, guys, you can throw all the Baileys you want in this, it'll still taste great.
It'll still work.
It'll still work, and you
It'll
can
still work.
spike it with all the whiskey you want. But no, I mean, that's usually when, me younger, first thing I'm thinking of Glamis is I'm not bringing my coffee, but you know what? I've never shown up without it. So,
Yeah. Yeah, there's, like, a balance of, like yeah, I don't know. I would always bring coffee. I always travel with coffee. Like, that's kind of a non-negotiable. I might not use it depending on the situation, but there's always a backup way to make coffee.
yeah,
And even if you, like even if you bought a pre-ground bag, a Glamis, like, for a trip, that would still be worth like, I get not traveling with a grinder, like, that is kind of next level,
yeah.
which I do, but again, I don't expect everyone to do that.
I know I
And
do it, and I used to take I'd always get pre-ground. Like, well, I've done this with, me and my brother, we went out, and we're hitting up, the Walmart right before we get out. It was in Brawley's. All you have is this one
right,
Walmart on the way out.
right.
I'm like, "I don't have anything to make coffee." Like, I went and legit bought a French press just for this trip, and he's looking at me like I'm a goofball because he doesn't really drink coffee that much, and,
There were these people that I would talk to, and I'd be like, "Oh," like, they, like, wouldn't buy coffee I was working on, and I like and they're huge coffee drinkers. And then like, "Oh, no, I only buy this brand." And I was like, "That brand is charging you your first child
yeah.
for like a 5-pound bag of coffee from some of these brands are $120." And I'm like, "I will sell you a
Wow.
5-pound bag as a friend of mine for like 55, $60." And it's like, "Oh no, but this one's like it's been
No.
organic and it's lab tested." And I was like, "It's all just bull."
Yeah, these are people that probably what I find so funny, I don't this could go on a tangent about something else, is people get really uptight about what they're putting in their body, but then they'll go on a rager for a weekend. I'm like, you just poisoned yourself all week." Like,
Yeah.
I'm right there with them, but it's like, I'm not gonna run around and get, like, super picky about anyway, I'm gonna put that in this.
Yeah, there are other and that was kind of the like that was kind of my issue with the organic coffee was I was like, it's not that is not the area to be focusing your energies on putting better stuff in your body. It's not, certainly not a place to spend money. There's
Totally.
like go get really high grade beef. Like spend the money there.
Yeah, I'm all
Don't
about it.
spend it on don't spend it on $30 bags of coffee. Like holy moly.
You know what? I'd actually like to get, like, a we need a deep freezer. I'd love to get
Yeah,
actually, like
we
yeah,
are due for a half cow. I think this month or next month.
awesome. You got a deep
We
freezer?
do it's oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, in the
man,
garage.
man,
It actually came with the last house. We like
I
whenever we bought it, I don't think I think that they had it in this part of the basement and they weren't confident in getting it out and they left like tons of stuff in the house whenever we bought the last house we had.
okay.
And so we had this huge, like deep freeze chest freezer come in the basement. And so whenever we moved, you better believe we took it out of the house
Awesome.
and we moved it to this house
My garage space is too precious for something that massive back
for a
there.
huge garage. Yeah, that's fair. You
It's,
can get a half cow. It's not horrible. It's not like completely unmanageable,
we, uh,
but
we ripped out our whole laundry room, just so to have extra room that was
to
my
dinker
anniversary present.
to yourself.
Rebecca had her neighbor come and rip out
Oh yeah, she
the
told me
whole
about
thing.
this.
Yeah, the best thing ever. So then we got more room for activities. And another thing we could tell people is as soon as I get done with this, I spent all last night rewiring my trailer and putting an axle on the back of it because I'm driving up past delay to pick up a side by side. So
fun.
Yeah. I feel like yeah, yeah, toys are so this is what happens when you wreck four-wheelers too much is, Rebecca is totally on board with me getting a side by side, plus I want something for her to be able to do stuff with, but,
Yeah, you gotta
yeah,
be able to have her drive it.
yeah, I've wrecked too much stuff, and anyway, the Banshee will be ready eventually, but yeah, we're going to pick up a side by side. So with that, when are you guys coming down to come hang out with us? We'd love to
Come
get
out
together.
to Glamis. Well,
Yeah,
hopefully soon. We'll have to figure out a time to get out there.
totally.
Um, yeah, like life keeps happening, and then
You're
flying
busy.
these flying these stinky kids out, that's challenging. But the likelihood of like, we can leave leave the kids with the parents and fly out and hopefully soon. Honestly, what sounds appealing, which is probably just as far fetched, but also sounds appealing, is like a off road forerunner rooftop tent adventure. I think would be a blast.
Well, we got you covered for that.
Like we would at some point in the future, because also what I would do is I would use this as an excuse to buy things, right? So then it's like
That's why we started this whole thing. I'm just buying more stuff. This is a business expense.
I was
We
like,
need
look,
to yeah.
we need to kit out my old Forerunner, which I guess isn't mine's not old compared to yours.
No, mine's old.
Yours is old.
Mine's old.
Mine mine's at 2012. It's not old. And but I'm like, I'll accept some reasons to change a couple things on it,
Yeah,
add a new rack, put a tent up there, drive it out to who knows where.
totally, totally. We could do that. Hey, we went to San
We can meet in the
Bernardino.
middle. We can meet in the middle.
There's plenty of spots. Colorado is in the middle.
We can meet in Colorado.
I'm not going anywhere further than Colorado, though. After Colorado, you get Kansas, and I'm convinced the only reason people move to Kansas is their family broke down on the Oregon Trail and said, "This is where we're at."
Yeah. They were like, "Hey, this would be like a really cool place to put a field, and I'm tired of traveling."
Yeah, if you like flat, you know where the I mean,
Yeah,
man,
I don't
God
know
love everyone in Kansas, but I don't know how y'all do it. It's rough.
the like that whole middle section is pretty flat.
Yeah,
I remember I was driving out to North Dakota, and I think there was a spot in North Dakota that I basically didn't have to touch the steering wheel for an
yeah.
hour
Get a
because the road
podcast,
was
cruise
just
control,
the
just
road
let it
was
go.
so straight and so flat that I was like, "Wow, this is how you would go insane is driving on this
And
road."
that's when I check my gas mileage. I'm like, "Let's see what this truck really does get on gas," but nothing's
Yeah,
changing for
nothing's changing.
hundreds of miles.
Let's set the cruise control and see what the MPGs really are.
Totally. That's why I call 10-year-olds know how to drive cars because they don't have to it's easy. Well, cool. So we'll try to figure out something in the middle there and go camping, but yeah, we totally need to get you out for some of that.
Yeah,
Be
we'll have a
fun.
good time.
That's one of the things I guess we probably didn't cover is on how we are and exactly what you do within that, like on your structure, because you work with Good Coffee Company or
Yep,
f- or for a Good Coffee Company,
yep.
and what your role is with that, and how these other brands tie in with Good Coffee, so people understand Glamis Coffee's role within what you do.
Yeah, I mean, so Glamis Coffee for me is a brand that is just aimed at the off-road community with a strong mission to I mean, honestly, what Bobby you like? I'm like, yeah, I think there's a lot of value here and a lot of people that want this coffee to exist and they don't know that they want it. And so like most of what I deal with or most of my concerns actually start with the farmers. Like that's actually where most of my time is spent. And I know like, okay, we have this much coffee coming in. We have these areas that we're working on. We have this area is going to be harvesting in March or something. And so what I work on is finding ways to take that green coffee and get it to the coffee drinker and knowing that it's it checks all those boxes, it's making an impact. We're building chicken coops, we are building facilities for these people, we are building warehouses, we are building schools. Like that's all of what I do within coffee, which is yes, there's like brands that I work with, there's different businesses that I work on, But at the end of the day, it's all about these coffee farmers and creating the market and the need for the green coffee. And
Gotcha.
so like that exists, and I don't want that to I don't want farmers to have to sell that coffee too cheap. I don't want that farmer to have to take a loss on like that's where most of my concern comes in. And so if I can work on, you know, a coffee contract that, you know, someone just wants to take coffee and roast it dark and sell it cheap somewhere, I'm like, that's at the end of the day, I want the farmer to make the sale. And so that's where most of my concern comes in. So like Glamis coffee for me, looking at it, I'm like, we have an incredible coffee. And so I just want to introduce that coffee to this group of people, and in a way that they can get behind the mission, get behind the brand, get behind you, and not have to worry about the coffee side because it's so locked down and so great that it's kind of like just like drink and enjoy and don't even worry about it because it's all set. Um, and yeah, so that's like out of without going into like all the details of what I do day to day, like at the end, it's truly about we have green coffee from amazing people that we want to roast it and sell it to great people as well.
Yeah,
And so that's my only goal is like I just want you to trust me that
sure.
we're gonna give you great coffee. I'm gonna give it to you at a fair price. And my goal here is not to like, you know, disappear in 3 years on an island. It's like, no,
Right.
it's like there's missions that need to be pushed forward here. There's people that need help. Yeah. So
No,
that's
I get it. No, it's good and it's admirable. It's, you know, yeah, kind of the way I'm looking at this is, hey, can we get a good product that people can get behind? And then can we do good things with that product to where it just keeps going from there and making an impact?
I'm like, you're already drinking coffee. Like you're already drinking coffee. And so you might as well drink something that has a great mission from beginning to end.
Right. Yeah. I
Yep.
wish half the stuff I bought actually did something worthwhile.
Yeah,
That'd
I
be great.
wish.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, align with any part of what you care about whatsoever.
exactly.
Um, yeah.
No, no, it's great, Joe. Thanks, man. I appreciate everything. And yeah, we'll see how the editing process goes and I'll send you what we got. See how where can people follow you?
Oh yeah. Really easy. Just at Joe Henkels on Instagram. Actually, just do Instagram. Just just
Just do Instagram.
just follow me on Instagram. Instagram's like where I spend most of my time with social media. I'm just at Joe Henkels, and you can
Awesome.
watch Spicy Sips.
There you go. It's easy to keep it on one platform. I've got on a couple and it's just it's
I do post it to Facebook, to TikTok, to LinkedIn, just because I think it's hilarious. But like I don't suggest people follow me anywhere but Instagram at this point.
okay.
You can follow me on TikTok. I'm also there. It's not a great platform.
Yeah, it's not
And
yeah,
like you can follow me on X and Threads. Like I'm on everything, but if I had to pick one, follow me on Instagram.
for the gram.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do it for the gram.
Well, awesome, man. Wait, well, thanks, Joe. Appreciate your
Very cool,
time.
man.
And yeah, we'll do some more, man. We'll try to get you out here too.
We'll talk soon.
Cool. Thanks,
Thanks,
buddy.
Bobby. Bye.